Monday, November 18, 2024. From Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. ITA Airways Flight AZ300 to Milan. It will depart at 08h35 from Terminal 2B. La Zaire Flight LG8011 to Luxembourg will depart at 08h35 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1267 to Delayed will depart at 08h40 Florence from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1381 to London Heathrow will depart at 08h40 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1579 to Naples International will depart at 08h40 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. EasyJet Flight U25147 to Berlin Brandenburg will depart at 08h40 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF7395 to Clermont-Ferrand will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1609 to Stuttgart will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1355 to Algiers will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1695 to Budapest will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1017 to Dublin will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1749 to Malaga will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2F. KLM Flight KL1403 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 08h45 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7483 to Biarritz will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1135 to Berlin Brandenburg will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1439 to Hanover will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1351 to Copenhagen will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1887 to Edinburgh will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2E. Air Baltic Flight BT691 to Riga International will depart at 08h50 from Terminal 2B. EasyJet Flight U24005 to Venice Marco Polo will depart at 08h55 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1559 to Newcastle will depart at 09h00 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1123 to Munich will depart at 09h00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1177 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 09h00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1463 to Stockholm Arlanda will depart at 09h00 from Terminal 2F. Swiss Flight LOX632 to Zurich will depart at 09h00 from Terminal 1 Gate 64. Delta Flight DL88 to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson will depart at 09h00 in air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Delta Flight DL262 to New York John F. Kennedy will depart at 09h00 in air/Allure from Terminal 2E. American Airlines Flight AA48 to Dallas-Fort Worth International will depart at 09h05 in air/Allure from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF1275 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 09h05 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1359 to Rabat will depart at 09h05 from Terminal 2E. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8259 to Alicante will depart at 09h05 from Terminal 3. Air France Flight AF1247 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 09h10 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1125 to Lisbon will depart at 09h10 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1497 to Casablanca Mohammed V will depart at 09h10 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1377 to Bilbao will depart at 09h10 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. KM Malta Airlines Flight KM478 to Lucca Malta International will depart at 09h10 from Terminal 2D. Air Serbia flight JU240 to Belgrade Nikola Tesla will depart at 09H10 from Terminal 2B. Bulgaria Air flight FB431 to Sofia will depart at 09H10 from Terminal 1. Air Transat flight TS110 to Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau will depart at 09H10 in Air/Allure from Terminal 3. Austrian Airlines flight OS411 to Vienna will depart at 09H15 from Terminal 1 Gate 62. Vueling Airlines flight VY8830 to Seville will depart at 09H15 from Terminal 3. Vueling Airlines flight VY8242 to Barcelona will depart at 09H15 from Terminal 3. JetBlue flight B633 to Boston Logan International will depart at 09H20 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2B. EasyJet flight U26637 to Birmingham will depart at 09H20 from Terminal T2D. Aer Lingus flight EI520 to Dublin will depart at 09H25 from Terminal 1. EasyJet flight U26335 to London Gatwick will depart at 09H25 from Terminal T2D. EasyJet flight U22773 to Bristol will depart at 09H25 from Terminal 2D. Delta flight DL224 to Boston Logan International will depart at 09H30 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1777 to Marrakesh Menara will depart at 09H30 from Terminal 2E. EasyJet flight U22435 to London Luton will depart at 09H30 from Terminal 2D. British Airways flight BA304 to London Heathrow will depart at 09H35 from Terminal 2C. Air Algerie flight AH1086 to Tlemcen will depart at 09H35 from Terminal 2D. Lufthansa flight LH1028 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 09H35 from Terminal 1 Gate 68. LATAM Airlines flight LA8068 to Sao Paulo Guarulhos will depart at 09H35 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2C. EasyJet flight U22105 to Manchester will depart at 09H35 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet flight U23245 to Edinburgh will depart at 09H40 from Terminal 2D. United flight UA990 to San Francisco International will depart at 09H40 in Air/Allure from Terminal 1. Finnair flight AY1571 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 09H45 from Terminal 2B. Air Algerie flight AH1002 to Algiers will depart at 09H45 from Terminal 2D. Turkish Airlines flight TK1821 to Istanbul will depart at 09H50 from Terminal 1. LOT flight LO331 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 09H55 from Terminal 2D. United flight UA987 to Chicago O'Hare International will depart at 09H55 in Air/Allure from Terminal 1. Air France flight AF895 to Fort de France will depart at 10H00 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. LAL Israel Airlines flight LY319 to Ben Gurion INTL will depart at 10H00 from Terminal 2B. EasyJet flight U24197 to Naples International will depart at 10H00 from Terminal T2D. Nouvelle Air flight BJ510 to Tunis Carthage will depart at 10H05 from Terminal 3. EasyJet flight U24562 to Milan Linate will depart at 10H05 from Terminal 2D. Nouvelle Air flight BJ542 to Monastir will depart at 10H15 from Terminal 3. Air Arabia Maroc flight 30363 to Tangier Ibn Battuta will depart at 10H15 from Terminal 3. Air France flight AF1543 to Geneva will depart at 10H20 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1437 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 10H20 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF763 to Pointe-à-Pitre will depart at 10H20 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Scandinavian Airlines Flight SK565 to Copenhagen will depart at 10H20 from Terminal 2B. Air Canada Flight AC872 to Toronto Pearson International will depart at 10H25 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2C. Air Canada Flight AC870 to Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau will depart at 10H30 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2C. Croatia Airlines Flight OU470 to Zagreb will depart at 10H30 from Terminal 2D. Lufthansa Flight LH1030 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 10H30 from Terminal 1 Gate 64. Tassili Airlines Flight SF3000 to Algiers will depart at 10H30 from Terminal 1. Flyplay Flight OG400 to Reykjavik Keflavik will depart at 10H30 from Terminal 2B. EasyJet Flight U28403 to London Gatwick will depart at 10H35 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet Flight U24542 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 10H35 from Terminal 2D. British Airways Flight BA306 to London Heathrow will depart at 10H40 from Terminal 2C. Air France Flight AF33 to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson will depart at 10H45 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF99 to Miami International will depart at 10H45 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. ITA Airways Flight AZ316 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 10H50 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF1307 to Düsseldorf International will depart at 10H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF7 to New York John F. Kennedy will depart at 10H50 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7401 to Toulouse will depart at 10H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF377 to Detroit Wayne County will depart at 10H55 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Aegean Airlines Flight A3610 to Athens International will depart at 10H55 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF935 to Antananarivo will depart at 10H55 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. United Flight UA54 to New York Newark will depart at 10H55 in Air/Allure from Terminal 1. Tarim Flight RO381 to Bucharest Otopeni will depart at 11H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF53 to Washington Dulles will depart at 11H05 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1519 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 11H10 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF817 to Havana will depart at 11H10 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Lufthansa Flight LH2228 to Munich will depart at 11H10 from Terminal 1 Gate 65. Air France Flight AF23 to Los Angeles International will depart at 11H15 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. EasyJet Flight U24526 to Nice will depart at 11H15 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1213 to Milan Linate will depart at 11H20 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7331 to Marseille will depart at 11H20 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF83 to San Francisco International will depart at 11H20 in Air/Allure from Terminal 2E. EasyJet Flight U24642 to Belfast International will depart at 11H20 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet Flight U24662 to Newcastle will depart at 11H20 from Terminal T2D. Air France Flight AF1681 to London Heathrow will depart at 11H25 from Terminal 2E. Scandinavian Airlines Flight SK837 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 11H25 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF9467 to Rennes will depart at 11H30 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1193 to Basel Mulhouse Freiburg will depart at 11H30 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF7301 to Nice will depart at 11H30 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7363 to Lyon will depart at 11H35 from Terminal 2F. Maya flight ME211 to Beirut will depart at 11H35 from Terminal 2E. JetBlue flight B61407 to New York John F. Kennedy will depart at 11H35 in air/Allure from Terminal 2B. Scandinavian Airlines flight SK573 to Stockholm Arlanda will depart at 11H35 from Terminal 2B. Air France flight AF1183 to Prague will depart at 11H40 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7501 to Nantes will depart at 11H40 from Terminal 2F. Norwegian flight DY1494 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 11H40 from Terminal 2D. Air France flight AF1717 to Dublin will depart at 11H45 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1643 to Geneva will depart at 11H45 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1435 to Berlin-Brandenburg will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1309 to Vienna will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1149 to Barcelona will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF9457 to Brest will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF9433 to Biarritz will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF485 to Rio de Janeiro Internacional will depart at 11H50 in air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1067 to Florence will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2F. Lusair flight LG8013 to Luxembourg will depart at 11H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1341 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 11H55 from Terminal 2F. Iberia flight IB585 to Madrid will depart at 11H55 from Terminal 3. Air France flight AF459 to Sao Paulo Guarulhos will depart at 11H55 in air/Allure from Terminal 2E. Icelandair flight FI542 to Reykjavik Keflavik will depart at 12H00 from Terminal 1. Delta flight DL264 to New York John F. Kennedy will depart at 12H00 departed/party from Terminal 2E. EasyJet flight U24668 to Krakow will depart at 12H00 from Terminal 2D. Air France flight AF7433 to Bordeaux will depart at 12H05 from Terminal 2F. Nouvelle Air flight BJ508 to Jerba will depart at 12H05 from Terminal 3. EasyJet flight U24690 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 12H05 from Terminal T2D. Air France flight AF1011 to Nuremberg will depart at 12H10 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1001 to Madrid will depart at 12H10 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1115 to Zurich will depart at 12H15 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1751 to Copenhagen will depart at 12H15 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1205 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 12H20 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7391 to Clermont-Ferrand will depart at 12H20 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Turkish Airlines flight TK1823 to Istanbul will depart at 12H20 from Terminal 1. Royal Air Maroc flight AT638 to Marrakesh Menara will depart at 12H25 from Terminal 2B. Emirates flight EK73 to Dubai will depart at 12H25 from Terminal 2C. Hizki Europe flight H4221 to Bucharest Otopeni will depart at 12H25 from Terminal. WestJet flight WS10 to Calgary will depart at 12H30 from Terminal 2E. Aer Lingus flight EI524 to Dublin will depart at 12H35 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF7303 to Nice will depart at 12H40 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7403 to Toulouse will depart at 12H40 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7491 to Pau will depart at 12H40 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Kuwait Airways Flight KU167 to Kuwait will depart at 12H40 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF7521 to Brest will depart at 12H45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1423 to Munich will depart at 12H45 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7461 to Montpellier will depart at 12H50 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF475 to Panama City Tocumen International will depart at 12H50 from Terminal 2E. Air Algerie Flight AH1000 to Algiers will depart at 13H00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1339 to Hanover will depart at 13H00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF9405 to Marseille will depart at 13H00 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U23475 to Liverpool will depart at 13H00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1103 to Turin will depart at 13H05 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Norwegian Flight DY1480 to Tromsø will depart at 13H05 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF1831 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 13H10 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7361 to Lyon will depart at 13H10 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1229 to Bologna International will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1165 to Birmingham will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 2E. Delta Flight DL84 to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 2E. Sky Express Flight GQ900 to Athens International will depart at 13H15 from Terminal. Saudia Flight SV127 to Jeddah will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 1. AJet Flight VF9 to Istanbul Sabiha will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 1. Qatar Airways Flight QR39 to Hamad International will depart at 13H15 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF179 to Mexico City Juarez International will depart at 13H20 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF429 to San Jose Juan Santa Maria initially scheduled for 13H20 will depart at 15H57 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7481 to Biarritz will depart at 13H20 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. EasyJet Flight U23241 to Edinburgh will depart at 13H20 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1843 to Geneva will depart at 13H25 from Terminal 2F. Egypt Air Flight MS799 to Cairo will depart at 13H25 from Terminal 1. Air Algerie Flight AH1162 to El Oud will depart at 13H30 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1619 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 13H30 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. LAL Israel Airlines Flight LY323 to Ben Gurion INTL will depart at 13H30 from Terminal 2B. Lufthansa Flight LH1034 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 13H30 from Terminal 1 Gate 64. Air France Flight AF1085 to Tunis Carthage will depart at 13H35 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1411 to Hamburg International will depart at 13H35 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U23123 to Glasgow INTL will depart at 13H40 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1059 to Newcastle will depart at 13H40 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7337 to Marseille will depart at 13H40 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7305 to Nice will depart at 13H40 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U22437 to London Luton will depart at 13H40 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1669 to Manchester will depart at 13H45 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1581 to London Heathrow will depart at 13H50 from Terminal 2E. EasyJet Flight U22107 to Manchester will depart at 13H50 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1477 to Bilbao will depart at 14H00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1501 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 14H00 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U24646 to London Southend will depart at 14H00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF11 to New York John F. Kennedy will depart at 14H05 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1131 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 14H05 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1367 to Florence will depart at 14H05 from Terminal 2F. British Airways Flight BA308 to London Heathrow will depart at 14H05 from Terminal 2C. Qatar Airways Flight QR43 to Hamad International will depart at 14H10 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF1735 to Berlin Brandenburg will depart at 14H10 from Terminal 2F. Swiss Flight LOX638 to Zurich will depart at 14H10 from Terminal 1 Gate 62. Royal Jordanian Flight RJ117 to Amman Queen Alia will depart at 14H10 from Terminal 2C. Air France Flight AF1349 to Barcelona will depart at 14H15 from Terminal 2F. Smart Wings Flight QS1034 to Prague will depart at 14H15 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1687 to Edinburgh will depart at 14H20 from Terminal 2E. Finnair Flight AY1575 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 14H20 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF25 to Los Angeles International will depart at 14H20 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1555 to Algiers will depart at 14H20 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1037 to Ljubljana will depart at 14H25 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1395 to Budapest will depart at 14H25 from Terminal 2F. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8244 to Barcelona will depart at 14H25 from Terminal 3. Air France Flight AF1139 to Vienna will depart at 14H30 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1301 to Madrid will depart at 14H35 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1897 to Casablanca Mohammed V will depart at 14H35 from Terminal 2E. Turkish Airlines Flight TK1825 to Istanbul will depart at 14H35 from Terminal 1. EasyJet Flight U24664 to Marrakesh Menara will depart at 14H35 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1147 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 14H40 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1427 to Venice Marco Polo will depart at 14H40 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U24544 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 14H45 from Terminal 2D. Austrian Airlines Flight OS415 to Vienna will depart at 14H50 from Terminal 1 Gate 65. LAL Israel Airlines Flight LY221 to Ben Gurion INTL will depart at 14H55 from Terminal 2B. Japan Airlines Flight JL45 to Tokyo Haneda will depart at 14H55 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1105 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 15H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1417 to Valencia will depart at 15H00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF7437 to Bordeaux will depart at 15H00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1529 to Porto will depart at 15H05 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1641 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 15H15 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1747 to Malaga will depart at 15H20 from Terminal 2F. British Airways Flight BA314 to London Heathrow will depart at 15H25 from Terminal 2C. Air France Flight AF1263 to Stockholm Arlanda will depart at 15H30 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1383 to Prague will depart at 15H30 from Terminal 2F. Tarim Flight RO383 to Bucharest Otopeni will depart at 15H30 from Terminal 2F. ASL Airlines France Flight 50162 to Algiers will depart at 15H30 from Terminal 3. Air France Flight AF659 to Dubai will depart at 15H35 from Terminal 2E. EasyJet Flight U22109 to Manchester will depart at 15H35 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF411 to Buenos Aires Ministro Pistarini will depart at 15H40 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7497 to Pau will depart at 15H40 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF7503 to Nantes will depart at 15H40 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U22439 to London Luton will depart at 15H40 from Terminal 2D. Air Algerie Flight AH1214 to Algiers will depart at 15H45 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1507 to Düsseldorf International will depart at 15H45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF7365 to Lyon will depart at 15H45 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1889 to Bucharest Otopeni will depart at 15H50 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7413 to Toulouse will depart at 15H50 from Terminal 2F. Orly Flight GR680 to Guernsey will depart at 15H50 from Terminal. Air France Flight AF281 to Tokyo Haneda will depart at 15H55 from Terminal 2E. Air Algerie Flight AH1118 to Constantine will depart at 15H55 from Terminal 2D. Aegean Airlines Flight A3612 to Athens International will depart at 15H55 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1025 to Lisbon will depart at 15H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1293 to Basel Mulhouse Freiburg will depart at 16H00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. ITA Airways Flight AZ312 to Milan Linate will depart at 16H00 from Terminal 2B. Sun Express Flight XQ510 to Antalya will depart at 16H00 from Terminal 3. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8222 to Santiago de Compostela will depart at 16H00 from Terminal 3. EasyJet Flight U28405 to London Gatwick will depart at 16H00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF423 to Bogotá will depart at 16H05 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7463 to Montpellier will depart at 16H05 from Terminal 2F. Aer Lingus Flight EI526 to Dublin will depart at 16H05 from Terminal 1. Air Algerie Flight AH1544 to Annaba will depart at 16H10 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1741 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 16H15 from Terminal 2F. Air Algerie Flight AH1108 to Sétif will depart at 16H15 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1443 to Geneva will depart at 16H15 from Terminal 2F. Turkish Airlines Flight TK1833 to Istanbul will depart at 16H15 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF175 to Mexico City Juarez International will depart at 16H20 from Terminal 2E. Aeromexico Flight AM3 to Mexico City Juarez International will depart at 16H20 from Terminal 2E. Royal Air Maroc Flight AT788 to Casablanca Mohammed V will depart at 16H25 from Terminal 2B. ANA All Nippon Airways. Air China Flight CA933 to Beijing Capital will depart at 17H45 from Terminal T1. Air France Flight AF7307 to Nice will depart at 17H45 from Terminal 2F. Scandinavian Airlines Flight SK839 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 17H45 from Terminal 2B. Air Baltic Flight BT693 to Riga International will depart at 17H50 from Terminal 2B. Air India Flight AI143 to Indira Gandhi International will depart at 17H55 from Terminal 2C. Air France Flight AF1841 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 17H55 from Terminal 2F. Iberia Flight IB589 to Madrid will depart at 17H55 from Terminal 3. Air Baltic Flight BT861 to Tallinn will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF1429 to Bologna International will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1727 to Venice Marco Polo will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 2F. Air Algerie Flight AH1062 to Ben Bella will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 2D. LAL Israel Airlines Flight LY327 to Ben Gurion INTL will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 2B. Flyon Flight 5F901 to Chisinau will depart at 18H00 from Terminal 1. EasyJet Flight U24700 to Budapest will depart at 18H05 from Terminal T2D. Finnair Flight AY1577 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 18H10 from Terminal 2B. Lufthansa Flight LH1040 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 18H10 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF1143 to Geneva will depart at 18H25 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1601 to Madrid will depart at 18H30 from Terminal 2F. Korean Air Flight KE901 to Incheon International will depart at 18H30 from Terminal 2E. EasyJet Flight U24546 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 18H30 from Terminal 2D. Air India Flight AI2021 to Indira Gandhi International will depart at 18H40 from Terminal 2C. British Airways Flight BA328 to London Heathrow will depart at 18H40 from Terminal 2C. ITA Airways Flight AZ314 to Milan Linate will depart at 18H40 from Terminal 2B. Air France Flight AF7405 to Toulouse will depart at 18H45 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF199 to Bangkok Suvarnabhumi initially scheduled for 18H50 will depart at 19H05 from Terminal 2E. Swiss Flight LOX644 to Zurich will depart at 18H50 from Terminal 1. LOT Flight LO335 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 18H50 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF267 to Expected will depart at 18H55 Incheon International from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1505 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 18H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1407 to Düsseldorf International will depart at 18H55 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1547 to Seville will depart at 18H55 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1319 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 18H55 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. EasyJet Flight U28407 to London Gatwick will depart at 19H05 from Terminal T2D. Air France Flight AF647 to St. Denis will depart at 19H10 from Terminal 2E. KLM flight KL1411 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 19H10 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1069 to Manchester will depart at 19H15 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1179 to Naples International will depart at 19H15 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1453 to Gothenburg Landvetter will depart at 19H15 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1185 to Tunis Carthage will depart at 19H15 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1071 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 19H20 from Terminal 2F. Scandinavian Airlines flight SK559 to Copenhagen will depart at 19H20 from Terminal 2B. Flyon Armenia flight 3F927 to Zvartnots International will depart at 19H20. Air France flight AF1117 to Dublin will depart at 19H25 from Terminal 2E. SmartWings flight QS1036 to Prague will depart at 19H25 from Terminal 2D. Oman Air flight WY131 to Muscat will depart at 19H25 from Terminal 1. Austrian Airlines flight OS417 to Vienna will depart at 19H25 from Terminal 1. Air France flight AF473 to Mauritius will depart at 19H30 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF7339 to Marseille will depart at 19H30 from Terminal 2F. Emirates flight EK75 to Dubai will depart at 19H30 from Terminal 2C. Air Arabia Maroc flight 30821 to Oujda El Angades will depart at 19H30 from Terminal 3. Air France flight AF1343 to Geneva will depart at 19H35 from Terminal 2F. Aegean Airlines flight A3614 to Athens International will depart at 19H35 from Terminal 2D. Scandinavian Airlines flight SK579 to Stockholm Arlanda will depart at 19H35 from Terminal 2B. Air France flight AF1823 to Munich will depart at 19H45 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1511 to Hamburg International will depart at 19H45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. British Airways flight BA322 to London Heathrow will depart at 19H45 from Terminal 2C. Air Serbia flight JU242 to Belgrade Nikola Tesla will depart at 19H45 from Terminal 2B. Air France flight AF7309 to Nice will depart at 19H50 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1597 to Casablanca Mohammed V will depart at 19H50 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1577 to Bilbao will depart at 19H50 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1775 to Oslo Gardermoen will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1281 to London Heathrow will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1459 to Rabat will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF7407 to Toulouse will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1083 to Prague will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1047 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 19H55 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1051 to Copenhagen will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7465 to Montpellier will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7505 to Nantes will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7523 to Brest will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1549 to Barcelona will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7439 to Bordeaux will depart at 20H00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7369 to Lyon will depart at 20h00 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U22111 to Manchester will depart at 20h00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1801 to Madrid will depart at 20h05 from Terminal 2F. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8257 to Alicante will depart at 20h05 from Terminal 3. Air France Flight AF1839 to Hanover will depart at 20h10 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Norwegian Air Sweden Flight D83638 to Copenhagen will depart at 20h10 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1815 to Zurich will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1277 to Marrakesh Menara will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF1731 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1227 to Venice Marco Polo will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U24007 to Venice Marco Polo will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet Flight U27135 to Barcelona will depart at 20h15 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1203 to Turin will depart at 20h20 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF1739 to Vienna will depart at 20h30 from Terminal 2F. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8828 to Seville will depart at 20h30 from Terminal 3. Qatar Airways Flight QR37 to Hamad International will depart at 20h30 from Terminal 1. Air France Flight AF1141 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 20h35 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1305 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 20h35 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet Flight U25149 to Berlin Brandenburg will depart at 20h35 from Terminal 2D. Aer Lingus Flight EI528 to Dublin will depart at 20h40 from Terminal 1. EasyJet Flight U23811 to Milan Malpensa will depart at 20h40 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet Flight U27603 to Lisbon will depart at 20h40 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF7393 to Clermont-Ferrand will depart at 20h45 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. ASL Airlines France Flight 50272 to Algiers will depart at 20h45 from Terminal 3. Vueling Airlines Flight VY8246 to Barcelona will depart at 20h50 from Terminal 3. Singapore Airlines Flight SQ332 to Singapore Changi will depart at 20h55 from Terminal 1. EasyJet Flight U22441 to London Luton will depart at 20h55 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1063 to Stockholm Arlanda will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1829 to Bologna International will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF1065 to Birmingham will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2E. Air France Flight AF7341 to Marseille will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2F. Air France Flight AF7493 to Pau will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. EasyJet Flight U22113 to Manchester will depart at 21h00 from Terminal T2D. EasyJet Flight U22775 to Bristol will depart at 21h00 from Terminal 2D. Air France Flight AF1535 to Berlin Brandenburg will depart at 21h10 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air Algerie Flight AH1230 to Algiers will depart at 21h15 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet Flight U23243 to Edinburgh will depart at 21h30 from Terminal T2D. Air France Flight AF1119 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 21h35 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France Flight AF7443 to Bordeaux will depart at 21h35 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1007 to Düsseldorf International will depart at 21h40 from Terminal 2 Guaranese. Air France flight AF1043 to Geneva will depart at 21h45 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1655 to Algiers will depart at 21h50 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1181 to London Heathrow will depart at 21h55 from Terminal 2E. Air France flight AF1441 to Amsterdam Schiphol will depart at 21h55 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1313 to Milan Linate will depart at 22h10 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF1195 to Lisbon will depart at 22h15 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet flight U24670 to Krakow will depart at 22h15 from Terminal 2D. Lufthansa flight LH1050 to Frankfurt am Main will depart at 22h15 from Terminal 1. Air France flight AF1101 to Madrid will depart at 22h20 from Terminal 2F. Air France flight AF7409 to Toulouse will depart at 22h20 from Terminal 2F. Swiss flight LOX646 to Zurich will depart at 22h20 from Terminal 1. EasyJet flight U24564 to Milan Linate will depart at 22h25 from Terminal 2D. Turkish Airlines flight TK1829 to Istanbul will depart at 22h25 from Terminal 1. EasyJet flight U24676 to Glasgow INTL will depart at 22h25 from Terminal T2D. Air France flight AF1197 to Casablanca Mohammed V will depart at 22h30 from Terminal 2E. Austrian Airlines flight OS419 to Vienna will depart at 22h30 from Terminal 1. Air France flight AF1767 to Florence will depart at 22h35 from Terminal 2F. Finnair flight AY1581 to Helsinki Vantaa will depart at 22h35 from Terminal 2B. EasyJet flight U24650 to Copenhagen will depart at 22h35 from Terminal 2D. EasyJet flight U24558 to Catania Fontanarossa will depart at 22h40 from Terminal 2D. LOT flight LO333 to Warsaw Chopin will depart at 22h45 from Terminal 2D. Air France flight AF7311 to Nice will depart at 22h50 from Terminal 2F. British Airways flight BA326 to London Heathrow will depart at 22h50 from Terminal 2C. Air France flight AF1405 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 22h55 from Terminal 2F. EasyJet flight U24530 to Nice will depart at 22h55 from Terminal T2D. Lufthansa flight LH2238 to Munich will depart at 23h00 from Terminal 1. EasyJet flight U24672 to Rabat will depart at 23h00 from Terminal T2D. EasyJet flight U24666 to Marrakesh Menara will depart at 23h05 from Terminal 2D. ITA Airways flight AZ332 to Rome Fiumicino will depart at 23h40 from Terminal 2B. Iberia flight IB591 to Madrid will depart at 23h50 from Terminal 3.